Colm Flynn is our dear friend who joins us from the other side of the world to talk about so many wonderful matters, but we just love seeing his face, hearing his voice as a lovely way of heading off to our little weekend. Look at him, he's always so happy. He comes here for a little tyre pump. And speaking of, watch what I'm going to do here, where we've got a bit of transport to talk about here.
Hey, Paul, always great to see you too. And, you know, I've been listening to the show for the past while, and here's a little bit of relief because I know you are a motorhead and you're passionate about cars, isn't that right?
Oh, yes. All in. Love it.
Vroom, vroom, but and you also know that in our game, there's nothing better than when you meet someone who has a passion for something. It can be anything. And you might not even be into the subject, but if they have enough passion and they sell it. I remember once going to the US for the BBC and we did a story on Hoff the Harmonica Man. He did a collection of over 1,000 harmonicas. Now, I love harmonicas as much as the next man, but he was so good and his passion came through. I was really into harmonicas as well. Not for too long, but I was. But anyway, this is a story about transportation because I went to Ireland recently to do this really cool story for Irish TV about a man called Michael Kennedy. He's from County Down, which is in Northern Ireland. And Paul, when he was growing up, he loved going to school, which was unusual for a young boy, but it wasn't because he wanted to get in and do his lessons. It was because to get to school, he had to go to his local train station and take a small, narrow gauge diesel train to get to school. And he loved, from a young age, hearing the sounds of the train, smelling the train, everything about the mechanics of the train. And that stuck with him for the rest of his life. He and his dad would then go around Ireland to disused railway stations and railway lines. As more people were driving, sadly, less people were using trains. And they would collect old bits of railway lines, signal posts, bits of train engines, anything they could get their hands on. He saw his passion through, Paul. And what I love about people like Michael is they don't care what people think. If they love it, that's good enough for them. He moved to rural Ireland. He bought a disused railway station. And in the yard, he created a museum, a collection of cars and buses and automobiles and old trains. He loves the diesel ones, but he also loves the old steam engines. And he's had some incredible successes of restoring them. So I sat with him in the carriage of one of his vintage trains, just me and him. And I asked him, why is he so passionate about this? What is it you love more, Michael? Is it the mechanics and the trains themselves, or is it the stories that go with them and the history?
Well, both, because when we get visitors in here, we tell them the stories and we keep them entertained for more than half an hour, and we bring them around and show them everything and tell them all the stories, because the mechanical, the technical stuff, a lot of people aren't into the technical stuff.
If people are into it, they're into it.
Yeah. But more people are just love to hear the stories.
Do people ever tell you you're a bit mad?
Oh yeah, but
how do you plead?
Guilty.
I love that. Charged with being crazy. How do you plead? Guilty. And actually, Paul, he reminds me of a song by the great Johnny Cash. Trains, trains, trains. I've got a thing about trains. And you saw there the steam engine. That's from 1908. That was just a rusty shell when they got it. And over 25 years, they restored that to a fully working steam engine called Nancy. But this final little piece that I want to bring you from the story is that in his yard, not only does he have trains, but there's another man called Philip Bedford. His passion is for planes, particularly the Boeing 707. Now, for aviation enthusiasts, you'll know that that was the first real big jetliner that was bringing people across the Atlantic in record time. It opened up the skies to the masses. And this man is so passionate, he looked around the world to try and get his own piece of the Boeing 707. He went to the US, he found a Pan-American flight. They cut off the cockpit for him. He bought it, shipped it to Ireland, and has restored it over the years. Check this out.
Built in Seattle and Washington, 1961, for Pan American Airlines.
This is incredible. And this would have been state of the art at the time.
Oh, very much so. Cost $6.1 million in 1961. That's one in 2023. That's $158 million.
What route was this doing, Philip?
This particular one spent most of its time flying from New York across the Atlantic into Germany. But it also spent time flying from Los Angeles across the Pacific Ocean to Sydney in Australia.
I love it. What a beautiful man. I just love these. I love the passion of these people. I was also slightly distracted thinking about the Johnny Cash song. Remember the old Folsom Prison Blues? You know, it was like, I hear a trainer coming around the bend. So, yeah, you got me there. Anyway, you got me singing. You got me toe tapping.
Hey, Paul, it's good to be singing into the weekend. And you know what was also really cool? When I was in that cockpit with him and he's restored all the gauges and the dials, he showed me up on the roof there was a little, like a hole where you could see through to the sky. And I said, what's this about? And he said, oh, even though it was jet age and you had 4 powerful jet engines roaring across the Atlantic, that was for the sextant, the device that they used to navigate by the stars. So it was amazing that jet engines, but still they used the stars to navigate. And he said also back in the 60s, everyone in the cockpit, the engineer, the captain, they were all smoking.
Oh.
So that would be used to lift the smoke out as well. So different time, different era, but what a great story.
Disgusting. Just make sure that you never find the Irish submariner who's going to show you the one with the wire door. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.